Okay, we've got section 2 now, questions 11 to 15. Menem port. Now, Menem you don't understand, but port you understand. It's like a seaport, right? So, Menem port is the name of the port and it's basically a seaport. Okay, why did a port originally develop at Menem? Why means reason. Why did port originally develop? Okay, so you can just underline why and develop. Okay, now we've got three options. Safe from enemy attack. Underline safe and enemy attack. That's it. The words which are being repeated in multiple choice, you don't need to read them. Like it was safe. Don't read like that. Safe and enemy attack. Option B, convenient for river transport. See that? I'm not reading B, it was convenient for river transport. Just underline convenient for river transport. And C, good position on sea coast. In multiple choice options, never read articles. Because in our local language, articles don't make any meaning. Right? If I say what is the meaning of the, we don't have any meaning for that. A means ek, but actually otherwise there's no meaning. So now, option A is safe from enemy. Option B is convenient for river transport, and option C, a good position on sea coast, means location was good. Now listen carefully, multiple choice. Instead of focusing the right answer, you should focus the wrong options. Why wrong options? Because there are two wrong options and there is one right answer. And by the way, they will speak about all three options in any order. IELTS listening is in order. But when they speak about A, B, C, it is not going to be in order. They might start from C, then they go to A, then they come to B, and we don't even know where is the answer. I mean, sometimes they will tell you the answer in C. First, they will speak about C, and later on, they will confuse you with B and A. So, how do they confuse you? Whenever they have the wrong options, for the wrong options, they use opposite words or they use negative words. For example, safe from enemy attack. Now they say, some people believe that Menem port was originally developed to save from enemy attack, but actually that's not right. So it means A is not the right answer. You got to listen like that, right? On the other hand, they will say, there is a common belief that it is convenient for river transport, but in fact, traveling through the river through Menem is quite difficult or something like that. So in fact, sometimes we considered, we thought, इसके बाद आंसर हमेशा गलत होते हैं. We considered, we thought, we'd expected, anything like that. Okay, so through practice, you will be able to catch it. Now, I'm going to play this audio. And first, you need to, this hand can be on question or you can keep the question in mind, means the reason for this development of Menem port, right? And then there are three options. Let's see how do they speak about them.
You will hear a recorded talk giving an introduction to the historical theme park of Menom Riverport in England.
Welcome to Menom Port, where 1,000 years of history are brought to life. All the family can enjoy a day out at Menom. Visit our copper mine, see models of the machinery it used, have your photo taken in 19th century costume, experience at first hand how people lived at different stages throughout history, and especially how children studied, worked and played. The port of Menom is located in beautiful and peaceful countryside, on a bend in the great River Avon, and developed here because it's the highest navigable point of the Avon. Boats can go no higher up this river, and proved a handy place to load and unload cargo to and from the sea, which is over 23 miles away.
Okay, now they did not mention anything about A. C is it had a good position on the sea coast. It's not the sea coast actually, it's the river where it has the good position. So the right answer is B. It was convenient for river transport. How many of you chose B? All right, that's good. I'm going to play this audio once again. Please listen.
You will hear a recorded talk giving an introduction to the historical theme park of Menom Riverport in England.
Welcome to Menom Port, where 1,000 years of history are brought to life. All the family can enjoy a day out at Menom. Visit our copper mine. See models of the machinery it used. Have your photo taken in 19th century costume. Experience at first hand how people lived at different stages throughout history, and especially how children studied, worked and played. The port of Menom is located in beautiful and peaceful countryside, on a bend in the great River Avon, and developed here because it's the highest navigable point of the Avon. Boats can go no higher up this river, and proved a handy place to load and unload cargo to and from the sea, which is over 23 miles away.
Okay, so the sea is 23 miles away. It was convenient for river transport. Boats can load and unload. And by the way, I tell you why sea is wrong. It was a good position on the sea coast. No, the position is countryside. Exactly. So it's actually not sea, right? So B will be the right answer. Let's go on. Question number 12. What caused Menom's sudden expansion during the Industrial Revolution? Now, Menom's expansion means they expanded it, right? Like, in Pakistan, they are expanding the seaport, Gwadar seaport and all that. Just imagine a seaport, you will understand it better. So what caused Menom's sudden expansion during the Industrial Revolution? Okay, now we've got causes. Improvement in mining techniques. Mining, salt mine, gold mine and all that. Option B, increase in demand for metals. And for metals, they might use the word copper or they might use the word tin. Option C, discovery of tin in the area. Now, let's see. What caused Menom's sudden expansion? Now, was it improvement in mining techniques, that they improved the techniques for mining? Or was it increase in demand for metals? Suddenly the demand for metals increased and they expanded the port. Or was it discovery of tin in the area? After the discovery of tin, they expanded the port, right? And again, they will speak about them in any order. So you got to just pick that up as well. Let's start. Question number 12, please.
A small port was already established here when, about 900 years ago, tin was discovered nearby. Though it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution, when a tremendous need for metals of all kinds developed, that Menom expanded to become one of the busiest ports in the country. And because it was already so busy, prospectors began to look for other minerals, and by the end of the 19th century, lead, copper, manganese and arsenic were added to the cargoes leaving Menom.
Okay. Now, first they spoke about C, discovery of tin in the area, but actually Industrial Revolution. They said during the Industrial Revolution, tin was discovered before Industrial Revolution. So that is why this is not the answer. Okay, I'll play it again, don't worry, right? Then they came to this increase in demand for metals, which is the right answer, option B. And then they talked about A, improvement in mining techniques. They did not talk about improvement. They said other things were discovered there and then transport increased, but they did not mention anything about mining techniques. I'm going to play this audio once again.
A small port was already established here when, about 900 years ago, tin was discovered nearby. Though it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution, when a tremendous need for metals of all kinds developed.
Okay, so it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution and all that. So that is why this discovery of tin is the wrong answer.
That Menom expanded to become one of the busiest ports in the country. And because it was already so busy, prospectors began to look for other minerals,
okay,
and by the end discovered nearby. Though it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution, when a tremendous need for metals of all kinds developed.
Tremendous need of metals for all kind develop. Increase the demand. For demand they use the word need. And for increase they use the word tremendous. Right? For all kind of metals. So B is actually the right answer. Is that clear? Yeah, you can practice this on your own as well. Be attentive, be alert, you'll be fine with it. Question number 13. Why did rocks have to be sent away from Menom to be processed? So rocks have to be sent away to be processed. Not the reason. I mean, just imagine a port and they're the big rocks. They had to send the rocks to other places. Why? For what? Let's see. Option A, shortage of fuel. Now, for fuel, they can use any fuel item. Tell me some fuel items. Coal, gas, we've got petrol and all that. Diesel, that's right. So shortage of fuel, right? Keep that in mind. Option B, poor transport systems. If they say they didn't have good transport systems, that's why they had to send rocks to be processed and all that. Next, C, lack of skills among local people. If they say local people were not skilled enough to examine the rocks, so rocks had to be sent and all that. Right? Is that all clear? Now I'm going to play the audio.
In the early days, the ores had been smelted or processed in the same area they were mined. But as demand grew, the smelting process required huge factory furnaces or fires to melt the metal from the rock, and there was not enough coal in the local area, so the rocks containing minerals had to be shipped long distances.
A, there wasn't a lot of coal in the local area, not local people, local area, right? So it's shortage of fuel, and for fuel, what did they use? Exactly, coal, koila, right? And for shortage, what word did they use? There wasn't enough.
In the early days, the ores had been smelted or processed in the same area they were mined. But as demand grew, the smelting process required huge factory furnaces or fires to melt the metal from the rock, and there was not enough coal in the local area, so the rock...
Yeah, there wasn't enough coal in the local area. So coal is actually fuel. There wasn't enough means shortage. A is the right answer. Is this clear? Yes. I tell you, for every multiple choice, you will always find something like that. Nahi mil raha, go back to the end of the book, and there you can find the transcript, audio script, and you can read it. I'll tell you the book number, okay? Don't worry. Yeah, don't worry about that. She's just asking again, how do we know? All right, don't worry. Let's go on. Question number 14. What happened when the port declined in the 20th century? Now, port declined means people stopped using the port. What happened when port declined in 20th century? Don't read articles. Articles make the options long. Articles are a, and, the, some, and all that. So, what happened when the port declined? Workers went away. Workers went away means they migrated, they shifted, they moved. Workers went away. Traditional skills were lost. Traditional skills of the people, they were lost. Right? In the past, like people used to make certain handicrafts and all that, but now they can't do it. So traditional skills were lost. And option C, buildings were used for new purposes. Now, whenever they say buildings were used for new purposes, they would say the factory was converted into houses, or the factory was converted into something like that. So that is, buildings were used for new purposes. So what happened when the port declined? Let's see.
Sadly, in the 20th century, the great port of Menom declined, and thousands of workers were forced to emigrate out of the area. The building at the port fell into disrepair, and the place became almost forgotten.
A, workers went away, right? And then the buildings and the place was almost forgotten. I play this again.
Sadly, in the 20th century, the great port of Menom declined, and thousands of workers were forced to emigrate out.
And thousands of workers were forced to emigrate. Workers went away, workers were forced to immigrate. Went away and immigrate. You can write it there. Went away, and synonym is immigrate.
Of the area. The building at the port fell into disrepair.
The building in the port fell into disrepair. Buildings were used for new purposes? No. They fell into disrepair, right? So it's that. Question number 15. What did Menom Trust hope to do? Now they've got a trust, Menom Trust, and that Menom Trust is hoping to do something. What is that? Discover location of original port. Now where original port was. So what do they hope to do? A, discover location of original port. B, provide jobs for unemployed. So you can just underline provide jobs. C, rebuild the port complex. Rebuild port complex. Now see, whenever multiple choice options start with verb, you should focus the verb. Right? Now see, for example, discover is verb. After that, provide is verb and rebuild is verb. For rebuild, they can use the word to construct again. For provide, they can use the word to give. And even for discover, they will say to find out or to get to know and all that. So focus the verb and then you'll find the answer. Let's see.
But then the Menom Trust was formed to conserve the historical resources of the area. It organised scores of local volunteers to remove undergrowth to find the original outlines of the installations. It then brought in paid professionals to match installations with maps of the original port complex and to set about reconstructing it. Today, you can see the results of this ambition.
Reconstructing it. Now reconstruct and rebuild. Exactly. I'm going to play this again. Reconstruct and rebuild.
But then the Menom Trust was formed to conserve the historical resources of the area. It organised scores of local volunteers to remove undergrowth.
Listen, local volunteers. Option B, provide jobs for the unemployed. Volunteers are free workers. Volunteers are not actually employed. They are doing something on their own without any cost. Right? So option B, provide jobs for the unemployed? No. They had free volunteer workers. Do you understand? Volunteer workers, Razakar. We call them Razakar. Like whenever we got any flood or anything like that, people volunteered themselves and all that. Okay? They're talking about it.
The historical resources of the area. It organised scores of local volunteers to remove undergrowth to find the original outlines of the installation.
To find the original outlines. Now, it's not the location. Discover the location of the original port. Outlines. Right? I play this part again.
Of local volunteers to remove undergrowth to find the original outlines of the installations.
Installations. Outline of installation. So, it's not discover the location. It's the installation. Outlines of installation. Now, we come to see.
It then brought in paid professionals to match installations with maps of the original port complex and to set about reconstructing it.
Yeah. Reconstructing it, so rebuild the port complex. Let's go on, please. Questions 16 to 20. Complete the table below. Write no more than 2 words for each answer. Now we've got no more than 2 words. So minimum words? No. Minimum 1, maximum 2, right? No more than 2 means, yeah, like if someone says 100 रुपए से ज़्यादा खर्च ना करना. So what does that mean? Maximum 100, कम जितने भी हो जाएं, right? So here, no more than 2 words means 1 or 2. Don't say मैं other word लिख के आऊँगा. Okay, tourist attractions in Menom. Now this is going to continue. Tourist attractions there. You can see we have a table, place, features and activities and advice. Yeah. The page is missing. He'll give you another page, right? You can, in the meantime, you can share. Yeah. So we've got tourist attractions in Menom, place, features and activities and advice. So first, place. Is there any question? Is there any question in place 1? No, but actually it will help you to track the audio. When in the audio, they say, first of all, let's talk about copper mine. It means they are there. Because, tracking the audio is very important. Some students cannot find it convenient to track the audio. Audio is somewhere, they are somewhere. Right? So, tracking the audio is very, very important. Second is village school. And the last one is George, old sailing ship. Okay, now we've got questions. Features and activities. Specially adapted miners dash take visitors into the mountain. Now look here. Dash take visitors into the mountains. The first thing is answer will be plural. Why? Because take is for plural verb. Right? A plural noun actually. Otherwise it could be takes. Right? One thing. Second, try to understand. I mean, if you visualize miners, people, and you're going to visit a copper mine. Has anybody been to Kyoda mines? Yeah, so you know that how the mines are and all that. Specially adapted. Adapted means converted. right? Specially adapted miners dash take visitors into the mountain. Now there is something, it's a mode of transportation which is going to take visitors to the into the mountain, right? Now by the way, if you go Kyoto Mines, what is it that takes the visitors inside? That's the right answer. See that? Your imagination will work. Now because they said take, so will it be train or trains? It will be trains. So if you imagine, if you've been to a place, or even if you imagine, you might have seen a video, and it's not that कल मैं Kyoto Mines जा रहा हूँ, उसके बगैर IELTS नहीं होगा. Yeah, परसों मरी जा रहा हूँ, उसके बगैर भी नहीं होगा. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Question number 16, please.
But what can you do and see on your visit today? Here are just a few highlights. We suggest you start with the visit to the copper mine. Travel on converted mining trains and journey into the depths of the mountain along seams once worked by hundreds of miners.
Yeah, that's right. You got the idea? Let's just play this again.
But what can you do and see on your visit today? Here are just a few highlights. We suggest you start with the visit to the copper mine. Travel on converted mining trains.
Travel on converted mining trains. So they've written adapted miners trains. So the answer is trains. Okay, so we go on. Question number 17. Advice. The mine is dash and enclosed. Mine is dash. Have you ever been to a mine? What is mine? Mine is cold. Mine is... That's the right answer. Okay, exactly. So see that if you know about mine, and mine is dark. Like you see, like once I went to a mine and I was like, that was not there. My father used to work in Miyawali. There was a mine. So I went in very confidently. As I went in, it was pitch black darkness. And I was with my son, he was so small that time, and I was like, come on, let's go inside. When I saw the darkness, I came back. So it's going to be something like dark or darkness or anything like that. Let's see. Question number 17.
Watch out especially for the great pumping machines which rid the mine of water. But please be warned that, like all mines, ours is very dark and closed in, and we do...
Like all mines, ours is very dark and closed in. Right? So dark, and for closed in, they used enclosed. The mine is, ours means our mine. So dark is the right answer. Right? Huh? Okay. All right. Listen. The mine is... yeah, it should be right because you've got the choice of no more than 2 words. It should be right. Let me check. They have given the option as dark, but even if you write very dark, it will not be wrong. Right? Because it does not say anything. The mine is very dark and enclosed. Yeah, that's fine. Dark or very dark, both are right because the word choice is no more than 2 words. Okay, let's go on. Next is village school. Classrooms and a special exhibition of dash. Exhibition of paintings, exhibition of pictures, exhibition of drawings. And by the way, underline the word exhibition. And write over there display. Clear? Exhibition and display. Now, whatever they say with display, that will be your answer. Let's go on.
The next recommended visit is to the village school. While looking round the classrooms, take a special look at our display of games, which is one of the largest in the world.
Display of games, right? And audio was very fluent. I play this again.
The next recommended visit is to the village school. While looking round the classrooms, take a special look at our display of games.
Take a special look at our display of games. So display and exhibition, and the answer is going to be games. Because in the audio they said plural word.
Special look at our display of games, which is
games. Right? Games will be the answer. Is this all clear? समझ आ रही है? अभी सन्नाटा आगे जाके छाना चाहिए, ठीक है? Don't worry. Question number 19. A dash is recommended. For recommended, they say we suggest. Alright? Or we recommend. or dash is recommended. Now let's see what is it that they suggest, that they recommend, and all that.
Near the school, and it's recommended that you time your visit to coincide with a guided tour. This will give you the opportunity
with a guided tour. All right, let's play it again.
And it's recommended that you time your visit to coincide with a guided tour.
Time your visit to go inside with a guided tour. A or with a. A is article. That will give you some, clue. A guided tour. Now, guided and tour will be written as two separate words because it's no more than two words. Okay, next is George old sailing ship. And you can see the last question is there. Children shouldn't use the dash. Now, in the audio, when they talk about children, and they say children shouldn't use. Now, for shouldn't use, they can say dash is not allowed for children. Or children are not allowed to use. Or make sure children don't use something. Make sure children are not allowed, right? Or any other word like that. Now, what is it? And by the way, there is one thing which is called referencing. What is referencing? For example, okay, they say there are some swings over there and these swings can be dangerous for children. So therefore, make sure they don't touch them. Them means swings. This is called referencing, right? Sometimes you miss the answer because of referencing. If you don't understand, I repeat. Referencing is, as they say, there are some swings like jule. Right, Jule, Male and all that, yeah. So there are some swings over there and please make sure the children don't touch them. Now, them is for swings. Sometimes they will use them. Sometimes they will use those. Them or those. Now, I play the audio. Listen and see what is it that children should not touch or should not use actually.
Near the school is the beautiful old sailing ketch called the George. You're welcome to board the boat and look round the cabins. Look out for the ship's wheel, which was missing until only 5 years ago when it was dredged out of the silt by a local fisherman. We have no idea how it got there, but it's been polished and proudly restored to its original place on the boat. Please take care going down the ladders if you wish to visit the lower deck. We don't recommend you allow young children to use them. We hope you have a memorable visit.
Children to use them. Now, them means ladders, and ladders should be written as plural word. Ladders. Ladders. What is ladders? CD. Yeah. Ladders. Now, if you don't know this word, you will not find this answer.
So, what if we write ladder instead of?
Okay, even that is correct answer because in okay, let me tell you. Whenever you check your answers at the end of the book, they have given the answer. If anything is written in brackets. Now for this answer, they have written ladder and bracket with S. So that means ladder or ladders. That is the right answer. Okay. All right. Thank you.